Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. It is Solo Sunday, and I'm going to start a new one this time. We are going to be playing Nightfighter Ace. This is another Gregory M. Smith game and is published by Compass Games. This one was released in 2018, I believe, or maybe 19. And as you might guess from the title, you are playing the role of a Luftwaffe pilot flying night fighters against British bombers during the nighttime bombing campaign in the Second World War, specifically from August of 1943 through July of 1944. So you get one calendar year of action here. And we'll see if we can make it all the way through. And what I've decided to do, and we'll talk about mechanics and so forth as we play. This isn't a new game, so I don't feel like it's completely necessary to actually go through how it works ahead of time, do a first look or whatever. We'll talk about things as we play, but in general, you get a slew of different aircraft to choose from to play. You'll need various amounts of prestige to be able to fly those planes, I guess would be the best way to put it, be eligible. And so you can progress up through, progressively more capable aircraft, I guess, and ultimately use that to build out your career. Now, the game also comes with 52 historical aces. So we have ace cards here. And I've shuffled these, and what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to select one, and we're going to use that card as our pilot for this. Instead of making a fictional one, I'm going to take one of these guys, and what I'm going to do is I already shuffled these, so I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to pull the top card, and we'll see who we got, and it is Hans-Heinz Augenstein. He was in Night Jagd 1, 46 kills all at night. He did win a Knight's Cross, and apparently he died during the war. And he was only 23 years old, if my math is correct there. So the key thing are his starting abilities here at the bottom. You see 3 prestige points and a prestige level of 3. That is what determines what aircraft you can fly. The Iron Cross second class and first class rank of Leutnant, expert in the BF 110, and 9 kills at start. So this is what he ended up with, and this is what he's going to be, where he's going to be starting in the campaign. So 3 prestige points and a prestige level of 3. He's an expert in the BF 110, which means we'll be starting with the BF 110. I'm going to put my ace card right here, even though it's optional. So we will be flying as Hans-Heinz Augenstein. The aircraft you see there is the BF 110. So this would be a BF 110 card that you can start with. It's yellow, which means available at start. And you can see the prestige level here says none. So you don't necessarily need prestige to actually start with this aircraft. On this side, you have a BF 110 F4U1. The difference with this aircraft, which is also available at start, is you need a prestige of 2. And why is that it has you have different capabilities here. You can see this one has 4 forward cannons, 2 of them, one of them immune to gun jams. So you have an MG-17 and MG-FF 2 centimeter, so a 20 millimeter cannon basically. 10 forward cannons that are 30 millimeter or 3 centimeter. Ammo with a ventral tray times 3. So you do have ammo that you can use up, as you would expect in an aircraft. And then you have rear guns as well. Now the difference in the U1 model, because they're both F4s, but the U1 model has the Schrager music, and that is a gun that points up at a 70-degree angle, I believe, if I remember correctly. And they would fly underneath the bomber, and they would literally saw the wing off of it. And it took a long time for the British to realize this was going on. So we can fly this model of the BF 110. Now this one, the U5, G4 U5, is also available at start, but you need a prestige level of 4. Augenstein only has a prestige level of 3. This one, the U6, needs a 5. So as you can see, you can go through, and there's a slew of cards, like I said. So I got out the 3 main aircraft that you could fly to begin with that didn't require prestige, and that would be these 3. So these are the 3 aircraft that if you start a career as basically a new pilot, not a historical pilot, you can fly any of these. So you have the Ju-88, which was a bomber, and you have the Dornier 215, which was also a bomber, I believe. And you can see the silhouettes of the aircraft and the radar apparatus that they put on them. They looked very strange because of the dawn of radar and equipping radar on aircraft. So you have these other ones that are available at start, like I said, the U6, which U5 and U6, which you need higher prestige for. In theory, we could start with this one, but he's an expert in the BF-110. You can see you need 3 and then 4 and then 7 for the HE-219. So if you picked someone who had a high prestige to start with, you could actually fly this one, which is probably the most capable of the night fighters, or the most technologically advanced, perhaps. Here's a Ju-88 C6B that has a prestige level of 2 that you could choose. This one's not available at start. It's not available to January of 44. You can see it's got a gray color. Then here's another one we could choose. We could choose the J4U1. It's available at start and requires a prestige level of 3. It's also got the Schrager music. And it's got blind approach receiver, which gives you a -1 DRM to your landing roll, which is a bonus. You do not have radar. So the BF-110s at this point in the war were not equipped with radar. And here's the F4A, which does have radar. This is also a 3 prestige, so I was wrong. You can see the radar right here on it. Does have Schrager music as well. I think we're gonna start with the F4A. With our 3 prestige, we'll use this one. So I will take the rule book and move that to the side. This will be our aircraft. So now to set up, and I'll do this off camera, we know certain things about our pilot, that he has 3 prestige points. So you would put 3 prestige points here, and I'll do that, like I said, off camera in general, but this is where you would put that. And then he also has a prestige level of 3. His current unit is NJG1, I'm sorry. That is this. We'll put this here. Then his rank is Leutnant. And like I said, I'm just going to fill this out off camera, and then I'll just point them out instead of, doing it while I'm talking, to kind of speed things along here. All right, so I have finished setting up here. So as you saw, we put 3 here. This is the Leutnant rank badge. We have the Iron Cross second class and first class, and then we have our BF-110 expert skill and our 3 prestige points. I've put out some of the markers we'll use here on the combat mat, and down here on our aircraft, we've got our Dutch base zone, because that's where our unit was based. We're using the Venlo Air Base, and there's our unit insignia for first squadron of NJG1, and then we've got the F4A model BF-110 right here in our Dutch bases. Now, the interesting thing about Dutch bases is once we hit January, I believe, of 44, or is it February? It's April, sorry, April, when you have the possibility of having intruder attacks where Mosquito night fighters attack the bases in the Netherlands. So you have the possibility of having getting jumped basically as you're trying to land. So we'll have to deal with that once we get there, assuming we do get there, because you never know, right? So we're basically ready to start. So here on the operations map, we actually have a sequence of play, which tells us each step So we're going to roll for our raid target on chart A1. So this would be the A1 raid chart. We are in our first month of August of 43. So let me get my dice tower. As you can see, I have put out my dice tower right here. So we will begin by rolling 2d6 to see what our raid is. Get a 6, which is Nuremberg, Frankfurt. Okay, so it would be a Frankfurt target. Next, we consult chart B9 here, the weather chart. As you can see, we're going to roll 1d10, so we'll do that right now. Take these out. Roll our d10. We got a 10, which is socked in. Now the asterisk says flight operations are canceled. Ace pilots with 5 or more kills may disregard. Well, Augenstein here has 9 kills, so he is allowed to disregard. But we are going to put our current weather here on socked in. Now our raid target is going to be here in Frankfurt. It's Nuremberg, but it's in the Frankfurt area. Okay, so now we're going to check for random electronics failure on chart B4. We get an 11. 11 is warning device. Now our aircraft does not have a warning device, so we don't have to worry about that. So next, we move from the takeoff endurance box to the raid location endurance box. So we're here in Dutch. We're going to Frankfurt, which is right here. So we're going to move there. Check for spoof raids on our A1 chart. Our spoof raid success chart is right here. So 2 to 9 is no effect. 10 to 11 is lose 1 endurance box. 12 is lose 2 endurance boxes. Roll, and we got a 7, so that would be no effect. Okay, so next we would roll for interception in each remaining endurance box on table B1. This is table B1 right here. As you can see, 1 is unsure of location, 2 to 8 is no interception, 9, 10 is interception, and 11 plus is bomber stream, and then you have modifiers here. I didn't mention the moon, but we are at -1 dark right now. So I basically have to roll a 10 to have interception. A natural 10 is always at least an interception regardless of modifiers, because I don't have, actually I get +1 for an operational radar set on my aircraft. So that negates the dark of the moon. I don't have radar operation skills. Our radar is working. We don't have jamming. As I mentioned, -1 there, so that negates that one. No, that's a +1, and that is not the radar set we have. So I'm going to roll my D10 again and hope for a 9 or a 10. And we got a 7, so that would be no interception. So we move to the next box here on our chart, which is now basically what it says there doesn't matter. That's just how much you have. And we do the same thing again. And a 3 is again no interception. So we'll move to our next box. And a 4. And we move to our next and final box. And a 3. So we failed, and now we have to roll for landing. So we're going to roll on landing weather. So we're rolling weather again, and we got a 2, which is good weather, so we don't have any problem with the weather on our landing. Let's move that back up there. Now our landing chart. Here's the landing chart right here. 2 to 10 is a safe landing, 11 is a rough landing, 12 to 14 is a crash landing, and 15 or higher is an aircraft destroyed. So no. Yeah, we don't have any of this. So we just get a straight roll of 2d6 and hope we don't roll an 11 or 12. And we rolled a 7, so we have successfully landed, which finishes our mission. And that was a pretty straightforward and uneventful mission. We didn't even encounter the enemy. All right, so that wraps up that particular mission. I filled out my log sheet here. Nuremberg, no targets, no kills. I guess I should put sortie 1. I put a 0 for some reason. And we had no interceptions. I put under the notes. After 4 sorties, we will gain an experience point. And then there's also things like promotions and so on. But nothing really happened there. But we do still get credit for the sortie. So basically, we just start over and we roll for our raid again. So I'm going to get my raid chart out. And we will again roll our 2d6. And we got a 4 that time. And a 4 is Berlin. Let me move this guy back to his base. So Berlin is only 2 away. That's not bad. So it's Berlin, Berlin. So the target actually is Berlin. We will put the target here on Berlin. We'll have to roll for our random event for determining whether or not we have any electronic issues. That's right here. So let's roll that and see what we get. A 9 and a 5 to 9 is no effect. So everything's working, so that's good. Now we will move, actually we will roll for spoofs. We got a 5, and a 5 is no effect, so there is no spoof raid. And now we'll start rolling for interception here. So we need our D10. And we're still dark, so we did get a -1, but we do also get the +1 for our working radar. So a 3 is no interception. So we'll move to, so we start here in Berlin. Now we'll move to the second box after that, which is labeled France, but that's kind of just an abstraction of basically your range. A 9. Finally, we get an interception. All right, so now we get to see some combat. Our first step is determining our aircraft target, which will be in this list here. So we do have to roll 2d6 again. And we get an 8, and an 8 is the Wellington. So we're going to take on some Wellington bombers here. We are going to attempt to attack with our Schrager music, and that's here. So this is a 3 centimeter or 30 millimeter gun. We have 3 ammo, so each attack will use up 1 ammo, and after we used up all 3, we'll be done. Those are typically done at medium range, so I'm going to move this to medium. And we don't have a bomber stream. That's what that other one is. So what I'm going to do now is reset the shot so that we can use our bomber target mat here, which I could probably, maybe I could just put it in there like that. The Wellington is over here. Now you have the Schrager music range effects. Although SM occurs from below the bomber firing upwards, some pilots crept up closer to the bomber to increase the lethality of the attack. At close range beneath the bomber, SM adds +1 random hits if any hits are scored. However, roll 2d6 to be hit by bomber debris. 2 or 12 will be hit by falling debris, and then we'll roll a 1d6 for random hits on the Nightfighter. A medium range beneath the bomber, SM is resolved normally. There is no chance to be hit by bomber debris. So we'll just do medium here, and we will now use our combat deck. And because we are underneath the bomber, we do not have the possibility of them hitting us, so that's one benefit of this. So here are our cards. This is a pretty thick deck, as you can see. Let me just stick it right here. So I'm going to take the first card off. And we're looking at, so the firepower of the Schrager music is 12. So that's 5 hits. Okay. So with 5 hits, let me just discard that over there. Whoops. We now have to roll, I believe, for what each of those hits are, which is on chart B3. Now, we have to pick a wing, so let's just say, before I roll anything, we'll say port wing. Okay, so the port wing is over here. Here's our aim at wing. So you've got 1, 2, and 3 are wing 4, 5, and so on all the way down. So we're going to roll 1d10 5 times. 5 is controls. So here's controls surface right here. So we'll put one there for that. That's 1 damage. Now we'll roll again. We get a 10, which is fuel tanks. So we'll put a damage on the fuel tanks. Now we've got 3 left to roll. Another 10, so that is another fuel tank, which causes a fire. Actually, I messed that up. When I rolled the first fuel tank, you're supposed to roll on this chart here, 2d6. I actually rolled a 10, which would have been fire anyway. The result of that fire requires the crew to immediately bail out. So we have our first kill. So we have shot down 1 Wellington. Okay, so that concluded the that box. So we'll move to our next box and roll for an encounter again. And a 3 is no encounter. So we'll move to our final box. And we get a 2, and that is also nothing. So now we'll try our landing. And an 8. An 8 is a safe landing. So we have completed our mission. I will note down that we had 1 kill. And that was our second one. We took no damage. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I forgot to roll for weather on landing. An 8 would be poor. So let me re-roll my landing, and we get a +1 now. We got a 7, which equates to an 8, which is still a good landing. But I did forget to roll for weather. So you do have to roll for weather when you go back to your base. So we are back at our base. First step, again, is for our raid chart. So we roll our 2d6. We get an 8, and an 8 is Peenemünde, which is Bremen. So we're going to put our raid target there. Our moon now is bright. So we get a +1 on intercept. We'll roll for random electronics failure. We get a 7. That is no effect. Now we will roll for our, so we're going to move to Bremen, which is here. So we'll get 3 cracks. Now we'll roll for spoof. We get a 9, and that, I believe, is going to be, yep, no effect. 9 is the highest of no effect. Let me roll for weather. 10, which is, oh, you're supposed to roll a d10. Duh. For that, and it's a 2, so that's good. So we have good weather. And a bright moon, not a full moon, but a bright moon. And so that gives us a +1 on our interception roll. So we'll do that right now. First roll for interception. A 6, which is no interception, becomes a 7, but it's still no interception. We'll do 7, which becomes an 8, still no interception. We'll try again. And a 3 is no interception. And 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's it. So we go to landing. Let's roll for weather at our base. It's an 8. And again, is poor, so we're going to take a +1. 7 + 1 is 8, so that's still a good landing. So that was a quick mission that didn't account for anything. I'm going to update my log sheet. Then we'll do the 4th sortie, and that will give us an opportunity to see what happens after the sortie. Or after the 4th sortie, to be to be more specific. Okay, right back to it. This time we get a 6, which is Nuremberg again in Frankfurt. So let's push this here. Our moon for this is a full moon. So let's put the moon to full. That gives us +2 intercept. And I'm going to roll for the electronics failure. It's a 4. That is homing device. I don't think I have a homing device. Okay, couple things I just noticed. I didn't take the ammo off for the first pass there. The other thing I didn't do is when you flip the card, the first thing you look at is this middle section that says contact. It says you are not spotted, you fire first, and then bomber begins to corkscrew next round. So if you were to not shoot him down and go back around for a second pass, he would begin corkscrewing, which impacts your ability to hit him. So in theory, I should have drawn this card and then drawn the next card, which I'll do right now. And you can see under 12, we have 4 hits. I think I shot him down on the 3rd hit. In fact, I know I did. So that actually ends up being an okay thing. And we would have still shot him down. So I'll discard that card as well. Just a correction on the order of operations that I kind of screwed up there the first time around. So now let's get ready for our 4th and final sortie of this particular video. We will roll on our read chart. Our weather, as I mentioned before, is a full moon. I think I mentioned that, did I? Yeah, I think so. We got an 8 this time, which is Pinamunda again. So we'll move this up here. That's in the Bremen zone. And we'll push this guy back here. And then he's going to end up going to Bremen, which is this box right here in the middle. So he'll have 3 shots. Now let's roll for our electronics failure. The only electronics we have is our radar. And we got a 9, which is no effect. And so now we will roll. I think we have to roll for weather too. So let's roll for weather. We got a 6, which would be good weather, so that's fine. I think I kept kind of forgetting to do that. Oh, it does say check for weather. Okay. So we have good weather, full moon. We have a reasonable chance of finding the enemy. We need to roll for spoof. And we get a 9, and I believe, if I am not mistaken, that is no effect. Okay, so no effect. All right, so now we'll start rolling for intercept. With the full moon, we get a +2. We get a 5, which becomes a 7, which is still not a successful interception. We need a 9. We need a 9. So we'll move to the second box. We get a 1. Last chance for romance here. And it's a 3. And so, unfortunately for us, 3 out of our 4 sorties, we couldn't even find the enemy. That, I suppose, is the nature of the beast when you're doing a night fighters. Our weather is good. Now we'll roll for the actual landing. And we got a 3, so we have successfully brought our BF-110 back. Home again. Unfortunately, we did we did not encounter anybody, so we did not get to shoot anybody else down. We did, however, pick up another kill. That would be the 10th kill for Hans-Heinz Augenstein, or Augenstein, I guess is how it would really be said. So that will do it for this video, but let me first update this, and then we'll come back. And I shouldn't have said that's it for this video, because we want to go through the debrief step here at the end of this, with this being our 4th sortie. So here on the 4th mission here, we're going to gain 1 experience point for our pilot. So our 3 is flipped over to the 4 side, and then each of our crew, and there are 2 crew members on this aircraft. We have the pilot and the Funker, who is the radar operator, because we do have a radar here. So he's right here, radar operator. He gets 1 experience point. Every 4 sorties gives you 1 experience point. Now you can use your experience points to buy abilities. I am not going to buy any abilities right now. We're going to continue to roll with what we've got, where he is an expert on, the pilot that is an expert on the BF-110. And then we will also get 1 for our radar operator, and then we will upgrade that down the road later on. So let me move these off. So we'll be all set for our next mission. So we did get 1 kill on this first go round. We played half of the month of August. So depending on how long these are, I'll probably shoot for 4 or so, half a month of sorties. as we do each video. I'm not sure how long we'll go. Obviously, if I get shot down, that would be the end of things here, and we would move on to another game. I'm not sure how many videos people enjoy in this kind of thing where we're going through a career. I think the Hunter series worked pretty well. I think we did 8 videos on that one, and it gradually tails off in terms of viewership because it's the same kind of thing over and over again. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on how many views the videos get, and that will help determine how long we go if the career isn't cut short by getting shot down. I had one correction to make. That's he has 3 prestige points, and that is not the same as an experience point. So I'm going to put an experience point there. Prestige points are earned by earning awards. So he has 3 prestige points, and his prestige level is 4. Every time you get a prestige point, if it's more than your prestige level level will go up. Your prestige level never decreases, but your prestige points can if you use it to buy. They're used to upgrade aircraft, basically, is what the prestige points are for. Experience points are used to upgrade your skills. So he has now 1 experience point that he can use, the same as his radar operator. So that's how that works, and that will do it. Now, as I mentioned, I'll be keeping an eye on engagement. So that's, views, how many people are asking questions or making comments, likes, shares, etc. Also, anybody who subscribes. I can tell when someone subscribes after watching a specific video. So all of that stuff will weigh into how long I continue to do this. I like the idea of a series, but I also like the idea of keeping my audience engaged. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to play it by ear. It's ultimately going to be up to you guys to some extent how long this series continues. But that will do it for this video. And we will come back next week. There will definitely be a second video and probably a third. And beyond that, I'll start keeping an eye on things, unless they all tank, in which case I'll pull the plug early. But that's going to do it for this one. So thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. And we'll come back next week for the next installment of Solo Sunday. But for now, I am going to sign off. I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.